the more you make excuses, the farther you're going to try to cross that line every time, and the harder it is to control yourself. Yeah, so don't even push it, like, because like the Bible says, just having the thought in your head lustfully about a woman is already a sin. So.
And that goes for girls too. It's not just like guys have different restrictions.
Wait a minute. You're gonna interject.
Okay. So that also goes for girls. We don't have any different restrictions. When you look at a guy and you're like, oh my gosh, like he's really dang good looking, and you start getting bad thoughts in your head, that's already crossing the line. Shut up, Dawn.
Anybody else have a comment on this?
Well, I think that like this goes for anything in your life. Like I think that if you're looking at life with the perspective of what can I do without going to hell, that's the totally wrong way to look at it. You should be striving to live a life that's pure and a life that's holy. And so if you're striving after God, you're not gonna want to walk the line.
Once you're at that line, you can justify just about anything to yourself in your own mind. So staying away from it is definitely a good idea.
Do you see happier marriages that result from abstinence?
Yes.
Anybody have an answer?
I have an answer. Alright, as many of you know, I have been married and I'm divorced. And just to say that I believe it's true because I was not abstinent before I was married. And it is not a good path to go down because I believe sex is for marriage after doing that. Because that is something spiritually connected to somebody. You don't get to know somebody before marriage. If you're having sex with them, that's your one connection. You don't get to grow on them. You don't find out their feelings. That's the one thing you're basically connected to. And that's one thing they're going to strive for you all the time. And if you stay pure, you're going to have an amazing relationship because you both are doing that one promise to each other, not to anybody else.
I think also it makes it a happier marriage because if you've like have sex with everybody and their brother, when you're married and you think that you're not going to be thinking about other times, like you're going to be constantly comparing your life with everyone else. And it's easier if it's like either you've decided to like recommit to God and like become pure, or if you haven't had sex at all. When you're married, it's not like you're going to be like thinking all these terrible thoughts about other people. You're just going to be thinking about your relationship with your husband or wife.
Yeah, she pretty much hit it, but my thing to add on to that is like, if you have had sex with other people, like that's kind of the point of this whole redefined thing, because you're going to change the person that you are. You're not going to be thinking those thoughts like Ali said, because if you go into a relationship thinking that you're going to get married, so you say, well, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person, so I'm going to have sex with them, you break up. It happens again. You break up. It happens again. So like when you finally do get married, if you haven't made that commitment and just like wiped that all away and set on a different person, how many comparisons are you going to be making to the person you're spending the rest of your life with? Like how many thoughts are always going to be in the back of your head?
I'm going to put it in simple terms. Okay, so let's say you meet your wife, right? She's a suitcase. Like, no offense, girls. Like, you pick her up and you take her everywhere with you. Like, it's your suitcase. It's awesome. We'll put it in like, it's a Coach suitcase. You want to keep it nice and clean. Because it's expensive, right? Alright, so before you meet your wife, you get with a bunch of other girls, and how you have all these suitcases with you, you're going to drag it into that one relationship where you don't want those suitcases. And like, it's just gonna drag baggage into everything, you guys. Like they said, you're gonna like have that intimacy with your woman, and then like it's gonna make it 5 times harder when you're walking through the mall with your woman and someone walks by, because you're gonna be like, oh hey, I wonder, yeah. When I think if you establish that. Just if you only have that with your wife, then you won't know what it's like with anybody else, because it's super special.
I just want to make a comment that if you think that experience is a good thing, it's definitely not. You don't have to have experience with things, because if your husband truly loves you or your wife truly loves you, they're not going to care how you do things.
This question has been asked more than once. Are you a virgin?
Yes. Yes.
But I just wanted to say that there's a difference between being a virgin and being pure. Definitely not pure, but I'm a virgin, and there is a difference. And the whole thing about being pure is, honestly, bluntly, even oral sex counts.
I'm not a virgin, but I went through this whole series 3 years ago and gave my heart and my commitment to the Lord and have been a virgin since. Like, this isn't all about physically being a virgin. They keep hitting on purity, and that's why we're calling this Redefined. Doesn't matter how many times you screwed up or in what ways you screwed up, you can be redefined and your virginity can be restored.
If you are forced to have sex, are you still a virgin?
I personally think that if you say you had a girl who was raped by a guy, and this girl's Christian, she's grown up in the church, she made a purity commitment, she was raped. I personally believe that physically she's no longer a virgin, just physically, but spiritually I think that she's definitely still a virgin because this was against her will.
I honestly, I know the God that I serve is a God of restoration. And so I feel like if that is taken from you, and it's if you already have the commitment in your heart and that you're gonna save yourself, and I feel like a lot of women, if they get raped, they're like, oh, well, I'm already lost my virginity, so it doesn't matter, I'm gonna go do it with everyone. And I honestly feel if it's in your heart that you want to stay pure, that I've honestly heard stories, not to make this gross or anything, but of God physically restoring somebody's virginity. If you don't know what that means, you'll learn about it in sex ed. But literally restoring all the physical parts of virginity in a woman. And so I think you're still, if it's against your will, you're still a virgin because it's not your fault. And God wants to restore you, and it's something that you have to work through emotionally and mentally too, because if you go through life thinking that you're not a virgin anymore, it's gonna ruin every relationship you have.
Not beating a dead horse or anything, but definitely what Ali said, that God can restore your physical virginity, but I believe that you're pure. God sees you as pure still if that was against your will. So, and that's what this is about, is purity. And if that's what you have in your mind, then God still sees you as pure.
Is it better to date or not date before marriage?
How many people in here have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? I'm talking more to the younger crowd, all you guys over there. If you were here when I spoke a while back, none of you know what love is. So unless you're pursuing Jesus with all your heart, you have no clue what that is, so you should probably keep it out of your mouth. It leads into doors that don't need to be opened. Sex is disgusting. It is. It's gross. Love is not. Love is good. Sex is disgusting.
It's not disgusting when you're married.
But we're talking about beforehand. Anyone, I think that dating, I think that you guys should wait till you get older to date. I didn't date till my sophomore year in high school, and it was I wish I wouldn't have, because I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I don't regret it, but I missed out on a lot of stuff, and you're still immature and you have a lot of growing up to do. I think it definitely should be saved till later in life. Yeah, girls just get worse as they get older, so.
We're gonna go down the line.
Okay, so I thought my dad was crazy when he told me this when I was in 6th grade, and I know there's a lot of 6th graders in here. But honestly, even though you're in 6th grade, if you can't see yourself marrying this person, you shouldn't be dating him. Honestly. That's what I think. I totally believe that.
My take on this is, you don't know who you are. How do you think you're gonna find yourself in somebody else? You need to figure out you first. You can't even, fathom what somebody else is like if you don't understand yourself first.
So you guys all might know this already, and I get crap for it all the time, so it's whatever. But I'm almost 20 years old, and I've never dated anybody, or really honestly even came close. happy about it. People are always like, oh, you don't know anything. But like, I honestly like, I think that like I used to be a lot more like strict on what I thought about dating, and I was like, oh, you should not even date until you absolutely know that that's gonna be your husband and you're old and all of this stuff. But like, as I've gotten older, like I've realized that like, honestly, if you are younger, if you're in middle school, even high school, and you think that, like they're saying you shouldn't date him unless you think you can marry him, you don't know if that's somebody you can marry. Let's be honest, like I've been in times where I wanted to date somebody and like I completely justified all of the things that I didn't like about him because I wanted to make an excuse to date them. And like, thank the Lord, I didn't end up dating them. But like, I think it's so easy, if you want to be with somebody because of lust, you're going to justify all the things you don't like about them. And then you're going to end up getting stuck in a relationship.
Preach.
I've seen this in all of my friends, like being the only one in high school that didn't have a boyfriend. People get stuck in relationships because they feel like they've gone so far or they've done all this stuff and they don't want to go back. And like, honestly, you guys are young. Just be friends with each other and just like learn who you are and grow up. And like, if you're constantly trying to form your life around somebody else, when that relationship ends, which it will, 99% of high school relationships end, then you're not going to know who you are. And you're going to spend the rest of your adult life trying to figure out who you are. And I think that like, sorry, Rhonda, but like, I honestly believe that the divorce rates are so high today because people think that it's okay to jump from relationship to relationship. Because in high school, that's all they did, was go from boyfriend to boyfriend or girlfriend to girlfriend. And like, honestly, you guys, like, don't do that. Wait until you're older and like you actually get to know somebody before you call them your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Piggybacking off what Ali said, I personally think that the term dating is hugely misused. I think that our society today believes that dating somebody means you take them on a date and you have sex with them, or you date them for a couple months, or you date them for a year and you have sex with them. Like, you're expected to have sex with them. I've grown up, my mom and dad have taught me that you don't date somebody, you court them. Courting means that you have the intention of marrying them. And like what everybody said, if you cannot see yourself marrying that person, you don't pursue it, you don't go after it. In my terms, courting, you know, it's like dating, but you don't have that expectation of sex. You don't have the expectation of having to go too far. It's what you both are comfortable with and what, you know, what God has told you what to be comfortable with. And you know, this is addressed to everybody, not just, you know, the junior hires, the high schoolers. This is to everyone, you know, if you can't see yourself marrying them, like, what's the point? Why are you wasting your time? Because the way I think about it is, you're wasting more time that you could be preparing yourself for your future mate.
Whenever you set a boundary, and you reach that boundary, you come back, and you come to that boundary again, what do? Does that boundary stay the same with anything that you're doing? You expand, you get comfortable with that boundary, so that boundary will then grow farther. So that's why don't even go near the boundary lines. Hold back. It's hard to do, but every time you go to that boundary line, the next time you go there, I guarantee you, you will cross that boundary and set a new one. And all you're doing is setting up a chain of events that's not good. So try to stay away from the boundary lines.
Just real quickly, I know like there's some people in the crowd that are probably thinking, well, I want to date somebody to find out what I want my future husband, like I want to find certain things. Honestly, why can't you be friends with them? You get so much closer when you're friends with them and finding out what you like in a guy. You don't have to date them, make out with them, you know, you don't have to make out with every guy to find out, oh, well, I like this little thing about him and this little thing about the other guy. Like, you can just be friends with them to find out what you like about them. It's not hard.
One sinner plus another sinner equals huge fat mess. One sinner plus another sinner plus God can equal a successful marriage.